watch your technology, and you got to watch it like a hawk, because it can, before you know it, they're making the same thing cheaper, faster, and so on. So then, like, anything high tech, US is always nervous, like, because of security and, like, what security encryption methods are used, etc. Everything, US starts putting rules, which are again antiquated by the speed at which technology is growing. The US encryption security rules are all antiquated because we're already up to something else. But, they have these issues. Very often what happens is that these customers in these foreign countries will say, we'll buy chips, software, whatever from you, services from you, only if you open an office in my country. Open an office in my country, then we'll do business with you. French customers, they say, I must have a French, not a French salesman, I want a French office. Then I know you're committed to my country. And the problem is, you open an office in France, you can't shut it down without, paying an arm and a leg. Like, it takes almost 8 or 10 years to shut off an Israeli development center. If you start a development center in Israel, the government there has rules that say that, they're going to do, you're going to put ads, etc., saying, do I owe money to anybody in Israel? You're going to put such ads that I'm planning to shut my company down. Does anybody, and if people don't respond in 6 months, then you can, I've got to show the records that, you don't owe any money before shutting your company down. India is also really tough because in India, the director of a company becomes financially responsible. Director, even if he doesn't own a piece of the company, if you're a director, you're fiscally responsible. And, all kinds of headaches can come from that. So, of course, different countries have got different rules about bribery and so on, and expectations of how to do business. It can be a mess for an American company because in an American company, because of this, because of so many rules that, if you bribe, you're in trouble. Even if you're anybody in your subsidiary also bribes, you're in trouble, sitting in the US. You cannot take your company public. So, you create these international organizations with international subsidiaries, and yet you've got to comply with US SEC rules to go public or anything like that. So, all kinds of issues. And then, of course, tax and everything, all that issues there. And you can also take advantage, like, Apple has not paid taxes on $100 billion worth of foreign earnings. Right? Otherwise, they would be paying 30% taxes on that $100 billion. So, like, Dropbox just opened an office in Ireland because Ireland only charges like 3% tax rate.
Even Google rules entire foreign exchange.
Everyone.
Bermuda or Cayman or something.
Exactly. So, once, that's why you need a finance guy on the team. So that, no software engineer or entrepreneur will ever figure out how the finance game is played. But it can make all the difference. And you have to do it early. And the reason Apple got away with it is because they did it 25 years ago when they started their Apple Ireland. You can't start getting foreign revenue and then say, okay, now I'm going to not pay taxes. Because once the IRS figures out, you've been getting this foreign money, you suddenly stop paying taxes. Say, oh, you're doing tax evasion. So anyway. But the point is that global provides you all these opportunities. Anyway, so this is, again, the whole sales channel changes from every country, from country to country. In Taiwan, you get a stocking distributor because, these guys want immediate delivery right at their shop, factory door. So you have a stocking distributor, but guess what? In Taiwan, the stocking distributor opens the LC to you. How good is that? The distributor can open an LC to you. So, it's like make your product, ship it, collect the money, no risk, as long as it reports and doesn't come back. If it comes back, then of course, you pay the price. But, that's a normal risk. But the point is that in Taiwan, because of the stocking distributor and the LC situation, you have an amazing opportunity to take care of your cash flow issues when you ship, when you give Taiwanese customers. For Japan, all the big trading companies, Mitsui and all of these big trading companies, they take care of all your issues, the language issue, this issue, the technical issue, everything. They basically take care of everything. So you can service all your business through these trading partners. UK is very much like your US, direct sales. France and Korea, if you can avoid having your own office, you just get a sales rep. So there are reps who specialize in software products, reps who specialize in components, reps who specialize in other stuff. So you get a rep. In India, of course, setting up subsidiary is very easy for US companies. So they made it very, very easy to do it. Hard to get out, but you can. India is still very good for this. Again, as somebody talked about culture, very, very important to understand foreign culture, right, and how business is done. So, for example, in Taiwan, basically, essentially, no matter what price you give, what features you show, how good your product is, they never say, okay, you got the business or anything like that. But if at the end of the meeting, somebody walks in and starts smoking a cigarette and then says, let's have dinner today. Now, you know that you're almost there. You're almost at the goal line. Because over dinner, essentially, they check you out whether they want to do business with you. And because they've already decided that from a business standpoint, you're already okay. That's already done. So when the engineering VP or whoever walks in, goes to his boss's office and says, you must come and see this vendor, you know that you're past all those hurdles. The only hurdle left is, does the big boss want to do business with you? And so, in Taiwan, it's like if you get invited to a dinner, and they treat you, you'll get a great Chinese dinner. At the end of it, it ends up being just a shake hand and, no contracts, nothing. Nothing is to be signed. It's like, I want, ship me 20,000 chips tomorrow. That's it. Money and everything will be taken care of. I mean, it's interesting that next morning, you go to your office, and the purchasing guy has already sent you the PO, and the LC has been opened. Everything is done. And then they want the delivery the next day, right? In 8 hours, they want the ships to be shipped. So, it's like a machine. It's like a machine for. So I would say that, if you guys have the ability to make products that can be sold to a place like Taiwan or Hong Kong or something, I think it's a phenomenal opportunity to, from a business standpoint, it's very easy to do the business. With Korea, you better have a stomach of cast iron because you have to drink all the stuff So actually, I know one entrepreneur who actually is a professional drinker with him, who's a Korean guy. And he says, you know, he's my drinker, I don't drink. So I brought somebody who drink for my company. So he takes his professional drinker who can drink, you know, any amount of shoju with beer, you know, shots and all that. So he takes a drinker along with him. With France, of course, it's like no hurry, like 3 hours, and they just, with Sweden, of course, you know, different things. So, anyway, so lots of different things. You know, I think a little bit of work, a little bit of preparation before you go and start doing business always helps in these countries. Yeah, this is dangerous stuff because really there is so much money at stake. Like, you know, and because the business is done so fast that, you know, just by compromising the sales guy, getting him drunk or getting him whatever. So, you know, this happens all the time. It's absolutely not something that is, you know, once in a while. It happens all the time. If you're running a business, you know, you better be on your toes to be there with the sales guy, be there with the business development guy, because essentially, you know, it's real money. If they get a 5% discount, and you know, your sales guy can easily say that competition is there and all that, but you cannot extract the right price because you got compromised, you know. So that's something to really watch out. Then, like, you know, they really mess up your sales guy, you know. You want to call on 20 different customers, but if you've got a great product, they basically try to figure out ways by which this guy is so wiped out after the meeting that he just cannot even do the other meetings. So, you know, the food that they give him and the drink that they give him, they just wipe him out, you know. So, all kinds of games are played. Don't think that business is easy. It's like you're going to be on your toes and know why you're there to get business and you know, play the game. You know, breaking into foreign countries, it's pretty straightforward. But this is really how I did it. So, number one is you go to the international trade shows. You know, take your booth. You know, you don't have any customer, nothing. You just have your product. But take a booth. You can take a booth. You know, you can 10 by 10 booth, 20 by 20 booth, whatever is appropriate to your product, because they all have sections. And just be there for 5 days. And you know, there's always customers walking by that could suddenly show an interest in your product, right? But then you obviously have to go very prepared, right? With entire collateral, demo board, you know, chip availability, you know, the whole set of whatever you're trying to sell has to be there, right? It's like you can't say, okay, give me the spec and I'll figure out how to make the product. I mean, walk in with them, have the mock-ups ready, have the demo units ready, or have the finished product ready, or have the samples ready, but be ready to sell, be ready to do business, right? Too many people, you know, think that the business will come, you know, like a textbook, but it doesn't. You know, you have to be prepared to take the order when you see the order, when the order is there. So, international trade shows will start because all the buyers come here anyway. Because they also have to find the people with the product, right? So all the buyers are there, all the reps are there, everybody is there. What I did in many cases is essentially hire my competitors, VP of international sales and so on. All of a sudden, I got access access to all the right people in all the right companies in all the different countries, right? It's the easiest way to break in. And if you can't get the VP of sales, hire his one guy less. If you cannot get the sales guy, get his technical support guy. Get somebody from your competition, from the sales and marketing side, because that's the easiest way to get the information about the opportunity, the selling price, the right price, the market window, the buying style, the payment style, the collection style, the support. All this issue becomes, it's right on in front of you. He's your employee, right? So just hire these guys, even if they're a little bit expensive, just hire them. You can always fire them. After you've got the information, or if they don't have enough information, take what they give you and then fire them. But
I have an idea, right? I interview a lot of
interview is a phenomenal technique, then you can get a broad spectrum. But interviewing is a great way to do it, but to get the real key core knowledge, because remember there's a lot of trust that the Japanese companies need before they'll buy products. It'll take you either 5 meetings or 2 years of meetings, but he may already trust this guy. So he knows that if this guy says something, it's the right thing. He's not going to fudge it or whatever. So another thing is, in the US we are lucky to have access to all the foreign engineers. Every country's foreign engineers are sitting there, so I can hire them. Essentially, the way I would sign up my international sales reps, how do you know which one? So I basically just take a look at my competitors' sales reps. I look at people who have got complementary products and their sales reps. And then when I visit a country, I've set up meetings with all these sales reps, and you basically cross-check all the information and get this done. And then probably a very good way is to give talks, be a presenter at conferences in all these foreign countries. Every country has got conferences, and on everything there are conferences these days. So you just have to get in there, get on the panel, become a presenter. Automatically, lots of doors open to you by being a presenter. So, anyway, these are some of the ways to break into a foreign country. And the financial benefit, even in the US, is huge. Even the US companies, they say that only less than 1% of US companies actually go to the global market, but 25% of all the gross profit is with these 1% of companies. So you can imagine what it would be for Indian companies. It's probably 0.01% of Indian companies really try to do business abroad. But all your profit is likely to come from that source if you execute a good global strategy. And of course, tax avoidance and all that other stuff. Anyway, there's a couple of case studies. But anyway, my viewpoint is that, you really made it as a company only when your global strategy is coming. You have to have a global strategy working, then you become a company with a lot more assets and capabilities. Okay, so more questions? Yeah. Malaysian company, okay?
So what is your advice of Malaysian companies, and how does this kind of payment in our masters?
Yeah, I would say that Malaysian companies are going to be, my experience is that I've been to Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and we had a TiE summit there and so on. Met a lot of Malaysian people. So on the whole, it's a very nice country to, or people to work with. I don't think it's going to be as difficult and complex as working with a Chinese company or a Japanese company. It's like they are going to be, quite, people that you can do business with, not too difficult. I think it's good to be able to get some Norwegian business, yeah. Plus, they are pretty well off too financially, so good straightforward people. Yeah. With whom? Okay. Right. So the question is like for the UK market, and for maybe other countries too, do you want to go through a partnership model or do you want to go through your own direct model? Direct. So very clearly, when you go direct, there's a lot of investment of resources, and they are your management, time, money, and time and money actually. And then your engineers will also have to be supporting the customers on different time zone and so on. So it's a pretty significant commitment that you're making when you go on decide to take business from a foreign country, right? So the question is like, is it better to just form a partnership and then the partner who already has a infrastructure, sales organization, support organization, development organization, essentially takes your key value add and starts offering it there. So I would say that, less headache, less planning needed and so on, but dramatically less profits. And in the long term, you don't control your own destiny when you go through a partner. Because if that market was going to become a very important strategic market, you will not be getting direct feedback from the customer as to what's really needed to take it to the next step and the next step and the next step. So for all critical markets, I would actually have my own people and even my own subsidiary or even my own sales office. But for markets that are basically going to be small, are not going to be strategic markets for me, there I'll go through a partner or a rep. So if I've decided that Taiwan is going to be my strategic market, where I'm going to get 20-30% of my business, I'll actually go ahead and have my own people, own office, and just have a real localization strategy. But if I'm going to Korea, where I just want their business, I want them to use my products, I would have a sales rep, or a partner. Like Japan, it's better to have a partner because the Japanese expectations of quality, documentation, support, delivery, everything is so onerous that most non-Japanese vendors cannot handle it. We just don't understand quality the way the Japanese understand quality. We don't understand safety. So one of my friends just sold 60% of his company in Sanam to Hitachi. And he was telling me that, so they're building power systems. And so when they were building, a big power system thing, there were 3-4 people working on top of the cupboard where the equipment was being done, making some, and somebody was working at the bottom, doing his assembly and all that. And some heavy metal object fell on the head of the guy working downstairs. It slipped from this guy's hand and fell. And the MD, who's my friend, my ID classmate, who started this company 25 years ago, he said that for the next few weeks or months, he had to go to Hitachi in Japan and explain how he was going to redesign the factory so that this would never happen again. So, Japanese companies, according to him, have this acronym SQDC. Safety first, quality next, delivery third, cost last. So for Japanese companies, safety is first, quality is second, delivery is third, and the cost is fourth. And I said, so some of my students actually asked this guy, he said, how can you compete in the Indian market if you're doing SQDC for all your products? Because in India, like, safety is non-existent. I see people doing welding without wearing glasses. You've seen that. I've seen people having heavy equipment without chappals and shoes. I mean, no helmets on the 20th floor of a building construction. Where's the safety, right? People don't think of safety, so they think it adds too much cost for whatever. Then quality. Which product works out of the box, right? This doesn't work, right? Delivery. It's in the mail. To make your product, I've got to get delivery from 10 other people. How can I make your product for you, right? So delivery is non-existent as a concept or a value. Cost is the most important value. Maybe the cheapest product, but who knows when it'll come, with what quality, and whether it's going to be safe or not, right? Whether the edges are soft, smooth, and you won't cut your finger when you open the box and all that stuff. So the thing is that, but what my friend explained to me is that, Rajan, and he told the whole class, is that if you do the SQDC, over time, you will have the lowest cost and you'll have the most business and you'll get the most price for your product. If you do it, it'll take some time to get your supply and everything in order. But you do that, and over time, you will have the lowest cost, you don't have to worry about cost, the cost will take care of itself, and you will actually build, and your prices you can command a much higher. Because everybody today would rather buy a Tata or Godrej thing than from some other low-cost manufacturer for anything, just because the QD are better. So, any other questions? Why don't we start? The food is ready.
Yeah, just 2 minutes I would take, because we have our board member over here. And also our charter member. So I would like to invite Raj Nair, who is also on the TiE Mumbai board, a charter member, to come over here. Ajay Kelkar, who has been a charter member. Just to give a quick brief on the new initiatives that is happening at TiE. And Raj is leading one of the initiatives over here. And I would have Raj talk about that initiative. But in addition to what Raj is going to be talking about, wanted to quickly share what at TiE we are doing new is we have formed 4 key verticals, the focus group, domain-based focus groups, where a lot of activities, initiatives have already been started. I'm not sure if everybody knows about it, but technology, we have been doing it. We have a TiE IQ Bootcamp, which is an incubation center, which has already graduated more than 30 startups over there. In the technology front, B2B, B2C, mobile app. So all this which we are doing, a 2-month, no fee, no transaction, no equity, nothing at all. It is a bootcamp that goes on. Then, and in technology, many other things that's going on. But along with that, there are 3 other verticals where activities have already started. One is the food and beverage. We had a food camp. We had